Okay, this is just meant to be a fairly quick introduction to what the SCA scoring site is and what the Grand Archery Tournament is, and a little bit of how you go about using it. If anybody has any questions throughout, feel free to ask. I'm sure there's a lot more detail I could go into, but we'll cover the basics of it here first. First off, what is it? Well, the URL is scores.sca.org. It'll bring up a site that looks like this for the homepage. This features an online repository for archery and thrown weapon scores all over the SCA for all kingdoms. There are archer rankings on there. You can go back and look at some events that have been saved on site. The society seasonal archery competitions that are held spring, summer, winter, fall. You can find the rules and the scoring on this site. Also the Grand Archery Tournament, which is Syrians, or I mean, sorry, well, it was made up several years ago as a way to rank archers against each other and see how people compare to the known world. And also the Quiver and Quarrel newsletter is available on the site. Real quick, now I can bring it up and yeah, for those who didn't know how to get to it, all you have to do in Google is just scores.sca.org. And this is the site. As you can see over here, we have all of the different kingdoms. I'm primarily looking at Kingdom of the Middle right now. We have archery and thrown weapons. I'm going to primarily be looking at archery because that's mostly what I do. So that'll bring up this page, and this is the Mid-Realm archery homepage. And I'll go through a few of the little features that you can find on here. So again, here you have the homepage. What can you find on this? Round scores, Renard round, Inter-Kingdom archery competition, SSAC shoots. They're stored on here. Again, those can be shot at any official practice or event. Also, we have novelty shoots and other tournament shoots, which should be shot at an official archery event. If an individual archer wants to see their scores over history, you can look it up through a name search. And let's see, I can go through that real quick here. So we have the period royal rounds, or well, royal round. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go, royal rounds. The rules, how to set it up, archer rankings. Come down here through here, we can see the official ranks. So we have dragon archers through novices on here. You can look up your name, see what your royal rank scores are, and how you fall. Society seasonal. There are none going on right now, obviously, but you can see what types of shoots there were in the past and what are available to be shot in the future. let's see, going on, talking a little bit more about the rankings. The Royal Round ranking tab shows your highest average score that each archer has achieved. A little bit about the rankings. These are basically you shoot the Royal Round 3 times, and it takes the average of those 3. And where you land with that score is either novice, if you're under 20 points, bowman, yeoman, marksman, woodsman, bowmaster, and the ultimate dragon archer. The SCA uses this as their primary score to rank an archer. I know a lot of people aren't happy with using the Royal Rounds, but that's really all we have right now for this. And it's used also as a tool to determine Pennsic Archery Champion team. And let's see, another type of ranking is with the Grand Archery Tournament, where again, it compares all of the archers throughout the known world. Another thing available on the score sites are individual event shoots. And I'm not sure what happened this year, but if we go to the mid-realm page, there used to be a tab down here that had event shoots, and it's disappeared. I was going to ask about that, but I just found out about it. If you go to other Kingdom websites, you'll see event shoots, and you can see all of the different events that had been input in the past.
I'll have to email Master Jonathan about that. I don't know why that would have disappeared.
Yeah, it was fairly recent because like a month ago I'd seen it.
Okay.
So must have been a recent change.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him about that because I don't see why it would have disappeared.
But anyway, on that event sheet, assuming it comes back up, you can still find the events on there. It's just a little bit harder to the information now. But you can see event scores and info about the individual shoots that had occurred during an event. One thing is, after an event, we really encourage the marshal in charge of the event to upload all of the scores and a little bit about the shoot to the website. Any archery marshal can request login information, and all you have to do is ask Ableen, and she can get you on there. At each shoot, you should have the archer's SCA name, real name, what group they're from, what bow type they're using. That's used to rank the archers, what type of equipment they're using. Make sure that you're getting the right scores under the right name so you're not accidentally assigning it to somebody else. And if the event shoot has more than the required number of archers, you can submit it for inclusion into the Grand Archery Tournament system. If we go into here, I can actually show a couple of the shoots. Just real quick, I'll look under my own name. So this, if you look under your own name, you can see information like this. This is all of the past shoots that you've shot. You can click on an event and has a little bit of information about it. Rain of Arrows. This was the Summer Shoots and Fest. What time or what date it was. approximately the attendance, and depending on what the marshal in charge puts in the description, it can show a little bit about the event shoots. This one had, a course with quite a few different things in it. And down here, each individual score. So if you shot the SSAC, ICAC, or even a Royal Round, you've probably got a page similar to this with all of the different shoots that you've had.
I realize record keeping now is easier than back when it was paper and pencil. How far back are you able to take your scorekeeping?
I think this goes back to roughly 2012 thereabouts. Yeah, that's gonna stay up there for a while. So depends on if the marshal in charge has uploaded it to this site, because a lot of marshals, they may run in a shoot, but they don't put the information up here, and we'd really like to encourage people to do that. Now this is gonna come up continuously now.
Yeah, we're trying to encourage everybody to post their their events on here in their novelty shoots, because this is the best way we can prove participation in archery.
And also somebody can look through the past history, and if they see a shoot that they like, they can recreate it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a way of showing participation, and also to share, because one of the things that I love a lot about this site is all the seasonal challenges. If we're running out short on creativity, which I hate to say it, but Tarquin doesn't usually run short on creativity like I do. I like going and checking out all the seasonal challenges, because I can just find, use those to set up an event. I'll just pick 4 or 5 of those, and those will be my novelty shoots for the day.
Yeah, there's a lot of information available for the different shoots.
I mean, it's really a virtual database of things that you can use, because not all of us are very creative. I'm not.
And having this available to load scores on and such, and I mean having this teaching session available will make it more likely that people will use the site.
Right.
Yeah, hope so.
Did I miss that did you show us how to enter scores?
I haven't yet. This was pretty much going to be just a introduction to the site. I can go into that if we have some more time at the end, which shouldn't be a problem, but I'll quickly go through some of the different other tabs that are available, and then we can get into that. But speaking of the Society seasonal shoots, I was just going to say that all of that information for current shoots is on that site. If you're not really familiar with them, it's a series of standardized shoots just to kind of mix things up and offer different shoots to archers out there to run during the year. They break them down into different seasons with different requirements. Winter shoots are 20 yards, because you usually have a very short indoor range. Spring shoots have a requirement of 50% of the ends being timed. Summer shoots, since you have a longer range available normally, they average 30 yards. And fall shoots, kind of to simulate like, falling leaves or something like that. Ends have to be moving, or you're changing the aim point for each arrow. So something like that would be the falling leaf shoot, or like a tic-tac-toe or something like that. They choose the competitions online. Usually there's a poll every 4 months or 3 months, and the winner becomes the shoot for that season. And if you don't like what's up there, you can always propose something, and they're happy to take those into consideration. So if you go to the site, here you can see the tab for the Society Seasonal. On the home page, it'll tell you a little bit about the rules, requirements, how to create them. They have a list of all of the previous shoots. If you go into there, you can see what the rules were for those, and what the scores were for each individual shoot. And as far as what's next, these are all of the shoots that are available right now. And yeah, if you need a shoot for an event or something, you can go through here, take a look at them, see what they are, see if there's something you like. All the rules will be there. Have fun. Continuing on, now the Grand Archery Tournament, this has been around since about 2013. Gladius kind of designed it as a system to allow archers to compare their skill with others throughout the entire known world. One of the hard things is there's a lot of standardized shoots out there, but people get kind of bored with those. And this is a way to include, your non-standard novice shoots, any novelty shoot out there. And if it has, the right number of people, a certain number of people, a number of ranked archers in there, it can be added to the system and count along with all of the other shoots for a score. Basically, the system takes the top 5 shoots that you've done during the year, adds those together, as well as a depreciated score from previous years. As the scores get older, they kind of lose their value, and it takes the more recent scores at full value. And it comes up with a number that it kind of finagles around and compares to the other people. There's 3 separate categories: handbow, crossbow, combat archery. Again, this is used to identify top archers, help pick the Penzic archery champion team, although this isn't the main thing at all. But it gives an idea of, who's hot, who's really out there shooting a lot. And if you are a hot archer, you can go up the rankings pretty quick. But to really stay up there, you have to be consistently good and shooting, constantly throughout the year. So here we have the Grand Archery Tournament on the side here. You can knock it down. Homepage tells a little bit about it, how it started up. background rules. You can look at the crossbow and handbow standings, and these are all of the archers in the known world that have shot anything that has been put on the site that qualifies. Any SSAC, ICAC, shoots that qualified and have been put on here. So you can look up your name and see about where you're falling and how you're shooting. So right now, top shooter is from Antier. It ranks it on a score from 100 to 0, basically. So 100 is the top shooter, and it's kind of a percentage going down from there. So this person, their score ends up being 84% of the top score, essentially. So they came in second. Looks like the top shooter right now in the middle would be Gwyneth Cole. So, and obviously there hasn't been any shooting this year, so in the middle. So anyone who's participated as scores. But does anybody have any questions so far on this?
Gerard, what's the minimum to get scores put into the GAT? What's the number of participants you have to have?
I think you have to have a minimum of 5 now. Let's see. It used to be 10, but now that there's a lot more scores and information in the system, I think it's been lowered down to 5. Yeah, okay. In order for keeper of scores to calibrate the standings, 5 ranked competitors must enter. So you have to have 5 people that have been ranked already. And then a number, any number of non-ranked people can be in there, and they'll be added to the system.
All right, now that sounded like you were saying if you're starting a shoot and everybody there, you have between 5 and 30 archers, doesn't matter the number, but nobody yet has a rank, you can't enter their scores?
I'm not 100% sure of that. I'd have to ask Gladius on that. I think you have to have a couple of ranked archers in there so it can, kind of do a comparison.
Yeah, so my understanding is that's like if you do a novelty shoot thing and submit it for GAT credit, because you can shoot the ICAC or the SSAC since they're standard shoots and become ranked.
Yes. Yes, if you've done any of the SSAC shoots or ICAC, those are automatically entered all the time.
Okay, so it's only the grand tournament shoots that you have to have other ranking to begin at. Okay.
Yeah, if you're doing a novelty shoot, you can still add it to the site. It doesn't have to be added to the Grand Archery Tournament. We encourage all of the shoots to be added to the site, whether they're added to the GAT or not. But if it has the qualifications to become a GAT shoot, all it is you click a button, and the person in charge of looking at it can determine whether it does qualify or not. You don't even have to think about it really. Just click the button that you would like it qualified or added. And I believe it's Moldani is in charge of the site right now. He can look at it and add it to the GAT if it qualifies.
Okay, thank you.
There's a lot more that you can do if you do have a login. Another thing I forgot.
Wait, now you just confused me. You mentioned you have to have a login. Huh?
To add information to the site, if you're creating a new novice tournament or something and you want those scores added to the site, you'll
Or
have to have a
you're
Marshall's
adding
login.
ICAC scores or royal rounds.
Yes. If you're doing that, you have to have a Marshall's login to add scores to the site.
And how do you get that?
Ask
Send
Gableen.
me an email.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. If you just want to look at information on the website, you don't need any sort of login. But to actually add information to it, you'd have to have a login information or login.
Well, you know, that's fair. I just needed to know the process.
Yep.
Yep, no problem.
Yep. So
Um,
just send me an email and I will create one.
I'll
Okay.
wait until we have an event or a practice or something.
Yeah, I would do that because otherwise you might forget. Because there's some people I know I've already created logins for and then they forget that they existed. So,
I may well be one of them. So, yeah. Okay.
OT is charged.
Yeah.
and speaking, so back to the question about the event shoots. I am
Mhm.
suspecting that the reason why you're not seeing event shoots showing up anymore right now is because there haven't been any added in over a year.
Oh, I would have thought that it would still have shown the archived information, but that's, yeah, show list should still be on there. But yeah, that probably is why then.
That's my guess. Because I can still go to the Marshall tools and I can still add an event shoot and I can still find an event shoot. And when I do a search for all shoots, the last one that I see was one that CADFan entered for the Cleflands Baronial Championship on October 6, 2019.
Okay, so it's probably just, since it's gone over a year, it knocked it off.
Yeah, that's my suspicion because when I went to the Society seasonal page, well, when I went to one of the other pages, I saw a list of event shoots. So
If anybody has any questions about this, you can just send me a note or something and I can, discuss it further. As I say, this was a real quick overview, so, there's a lot of information you can do on this site.